What's going on, guys? Bonafide Hustler here with another show, and it's a live show if you are watching today, Friday. Anyway, this show is eBay items that will sell for 50 plus and things that you should be looking out for. All right. Anyways, I'm the Bonafide Hustler. I reside in Austin, Texas. I flip stuff I find from garage sales, estate sales, flea markets, yard sales, pawn shops, swap meets, big box stores, and I put it on places like eBay, Amazon, my antique booth, consignment stores in town, and Craigslist. So that's what I do. I'm also one of the owners of the Green Room University. It is the second link down below. So go check that out if you want to join an active thrifting community that is private. So anyway, and while we're at it, since you guys are clearly looking at the show, trying to get some tips and some bolos, what we like to call be on the lookout type items, check out this be on the lookout type item. It is the first link down below. It is made by the Green Room University, and it is free. First link down below. Go get it, put it in your phone, and off you will go. So yeah, 100 really easy to find items. Well, I wouldn't say really easy, but relatively easy to find items at thrift stores and garage sales. Get that guide. First link down below. Okay, so what are we going to learn in this show? This show is going to show you some interesting items. In fact, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 items that we're going to be discussing on this show that I really don't see a whole lot of people talking about, which is okay. Because even if people talked about it, that's good too. But I want to show you some things that I'm on the lookout for that I've either found them right back in the day, or I am heavily on the lookout for these things for certain reasons. So that's what we're going to learn today on the show, and I will show you screen shares of eBay completed type stuff and the reason why you should be looking for these types of items as well. All right, in the feed we have Mark Coffin, Clint Harris, Brandon Penrod, what's up, Yves Tessier, and Ben Gilbert. And if you do enjoy this content, the number one thing you can do besides commenting live is to hit the like button down below. Okay, so we got 3 likes already. That's good. So let's talk about the very first item. Let me get the screen share going. And let's get into the eBay thing here. Now, this is very interesting. So Mondo is a company in Austin, Texas. I want to say it probably has 12 to 16 employees. And Mondo builds very limited edition artistic prints or items that are commemorative to very iconic movies. So let's put it that way, right? So let's look at some of the solds of some of these Mondo items on eBay. And Mondo, how should I say it? There is a theater in town in Austin, Texas called the Alamo Drafthouse. It's essentially a theater. It's a local kind of thing. I think it's probably started here, but essentially you buy a ticket that is what I would like to consider more than the average price of a ticket. But when you go there, the theater seating and all that's a little bit more quaint. You can order food, beer, and they have their own kind of like brews on tap and all that kind of stuff. And they have this really interesting rule before the movie starts that you can't have your cell phone on, no talking, any of that stuff, or they'll kick your ass out. I'm not kidding. So that's the Alamo Draft House, and you'll see in a lot of these things it says Draft House. And when I'm doing my search, I'm going Mondo Draft House because Mondo's the company in Austin, Texas that the Draft House contracted with to make these special prints. What's interesting is that this stuff has really good resale. So let's talk about some of these prints. If you're lucky enough to find the prints, I mean, you're going to be doing very well. As you can see, the Big Lebowski one, very rare, low number. When they say low number, remember the very first part of this broadcast how I told you that they make limited edition prints, and it's usually 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 50. Sometimes they go up to 500 prints on certain things. But if you take a look into the actual poster, it usually tells you what it is. So we can go into this Big Lebowski one real quick. And we can take a look, and you'll see that it says Mondo. If you have to start taking a look at the, where does it say? Oh, here's the print thing right there. It's barely visible. Hold on, let me get out of this and see if we can even find it. I mean, the print is right around here. It's 13 out of 306 on this one. But this is a Big Lebowski one, and it should say somewhere on the bottom like mondosomething.com or one of those. And if it doesn't, it's going to be a little bit harder to decode for you. But I know a lot of them say Mondo somewhere.com on them. So this one's a little bit more rare. Let's not really look at this one so much as opposed to ones that you might be able to find, okay? So let's take a look at here. There's the There Will Be Blood one. That was the movie about the oil and all that kind of stuff. We got 2 that are sold right there. And these are really like way over 50 bucks. But let's start going into like the Halloween. And here's one of the biggest bolos I wanted to show you guys was the Gremlins Tiki mug, all right? Mondo 250 rare. Candy cane paint. Okay, so there's 250 of the candy cane ones. There's a whole lot more of these right here, which are the more standard color. But start looking at this kind of stuff when you're in your glass section, or if you're looking for tiki stuff and you're like, man, that's kind of ugly. Like that has nothing to do with tiki. Well, it has to do with Gremlins, and it has to do with Mondo, and it has to do with the Alamo Draft House. So look at this. One tiki mug that's a candy cane color, $129.99. Now, suppose you don't find that one. Let's suppose you find a Mondo Alien poster or Mondo. Here's the Gremlins one, right? Two of them. Two Gremlins ones that are out of the actual box, and they're that brown kind of greenish color. $99.95, one bid, $18.85 shipping. Now, if we go to, let's just say that's the new stuff, because a lot of Mondo stuff is unused. But if we go to the used section, you can kind of see that even Mondo glasses have a really good resale. Pair of Alamo Draft House Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is not even that great of a movie. The Mondo did an exclusive for the Alamo Draft House, a pair of these glasses. If you find them, $39.99. If you find one, right, then you have basically what seems to be about $30 in profit or something like that. Because we know that the glasses, when you find them, are probably going to be pretty cheap. But let's get out of used for a while. Let's go back to the new things, because a lot of people that buy these things aren't going to really use them, okay? Like the poster might be still rolled up. They have even pins. Like, here's a Wolverine for the Logan movie, Draft House exclusive, 4 pins, okay? 4 pins, $99.99, right? Pretty awesome. And here's a Gremlins ceramic tiki mug, listed really as new, which is crazy because it's completely out of the box. But this one right here, $85 total with the including the $10 shipping. So you can kind of see here's the green one right here. Here's another one, and this is what the box that it comes with. So if you see this at a garage sale or something, start looking out for that. That's what the box looks like. And you never know. At a garage sale, they might charge you $10 for this thing. It's already in a box. Just make sure that you pad the box, put it in another box, and look at the prices that you can sell some of this stuff for. Here's the green one right here, 3 bids at $45. So definitely a good bolo to look out for. If you want to find out more information about Mondo, just type in Mondo to Google, and you'll figure out that they have some really amazing prints that you can buy, but this stuff is like really expensive stuff. It's not exactly affordable when you deal with their other things that you see on their website. But this stuff that the Alamo Draft House has when they do commemorative, it could be Goonies, it could be Gremlins, it could be Aliens type stuff, it could be Wolverine, X-Men stuff. They're going to have limited edition things that, that you can buy. And I want to say right now that Mondo, excuse me, might be doing an exclusive for the new Alien Covenant movie. So I might consider getting into some of those, like brand new, because Alien is one of those things that has been around since I think maybe 83, 84 was the first movie with Sigourney Weaver. The second movie had Sigourney Weaver as well. I want to say the third one did too. But it's been a saga in a sense that has, and they went to really terrible movies like Alien versus Predator and all that, but then they kind of revamped it on that Prometheus film, which is really good. And then they went into this new one, which is called Covenant, and it's coming out real soon. And there's a lot of hype around Covenant. A lot of the hype was also because Ridley Scott, who has now passed away, was I want to say producer or director of that most of the series. And Ridley Scott is considered to be pretty much a genius. So anyway, it's one of those things to kind of look out for. I tried to look out for more Mondo stuff for this Alien Covenant movie. I still can't get my hands on it yet, but maybe it includes with the ticket. I don't know, but there's special stuff available for this new movie coming out, and I might try to get my hands on some of that stuff, especially maybe a poster if I can. Okay, so we have people in the feed. Hey, what's up, guys? Good to see you guys. Someone's got a Hero Black camera. That's a really good camera. I have a Hero 4 Black, and I love it. I heard the Hero 5 is even better. But all right, so anyway, that's what's going on with the Mondo stuff. Look out for that, big type bolos, especially the Gremlins Tiki mug. That's probably the one that's, we see that enough on the completed things. I'm definitely on the lookout for it right now. I have never found one, but me being in Austin, Texas, which is where Alamo Draft House is, I think it's created here. If it's not here, it's Colorado. But anyway, they got a lot of them in town. So, I think it's right around the corner before I find something that's Mondo endorsed at a Goodwill or at a yard sale, and I'll be able to flip it on eBay. And I'll make sure to make a video when I do that. So anyway, that's the first one. Let's go to the second thing real quick. Let me populate it in here, then I'll do the screen share real quick. This one's pretty interesting. This one I have firsthand experience with. And it's really, it's a little tighter of a market, but just so you guys know, like, it's one of those things like if you didn't know what it was, you probably pass it right by. So I have flipped 1, 2, maybe 3 of these things, and then some other accessories from this thing. But I've flipped 3 total ones. One was really like complete. So you'll see what I'm talking about here in 1 second. Let's go into the screen share. I'd hinted about this in another video back in the day, but essentially there's a company called Extra Cycle, and Extra Cycle now makes cargo bikes that are all single frame, like all one kind of thing. But back in the day, and not really even back in the day, like 6 years ago, 10 years ago, they made Extra Cycle attachments to normal bikes. So you could get a normal bike like this Novara that you see right here, right? And you could take the back wheel off, put the Extra Cycle free radical section on, which is that's what this thing is right here. You see this little bar, and it goes to this like extra section that you can convert essentially a normal bike into a cargo bike. And I say cargo with emphasis because that's the really big key word when you're dealing with Extra Cycle, free radical. You got to put cargo, even if the bike is not there. And you'll see what these things sell for with the bike not even there. But I have actually sold on eBay a complete Extra Cycle bike back in the day. I want to say it was like I don't know. I want to say like back in the day before it went out of business, like it was, I bought it for 4. I sold it on eBay for like 8. So anyways, here's a normal Novara bike paired to an Extra Cycle. That Extra Cycle also has the chair, it has the deck, it has the bags, it has the kickstand, which I can see right here, and it even has the rails for a little kid to sit in the chair and hold on to the rails. Now, why is that important? Because the Extra Cycle free radical itself is one big assembly. It's basically the tubing right here. But suppose you find the bags only, or maybe just the kickstand, or maybe the foot pegs, or maybe the deck only, or the chair, or the little bars right here. All the stuff associated with the free radical has really good resale as well. But it's a tight market because they don't make the free radical anymore. They make entire bikes, like this one right here, like an Edge Runner, right? So this is an Edge Runner. This is an Extra Cycle bike now. It has a 26-inch front wheel in the front, and it has a 20-inch wheel in the back, which makes it not really pedal friendly for long distances. Like a lot of people still want to do this 26-inch front wheel and a 26-inch back wheel, which is the way the original free radical was created. And I actually own one of these myself, and I love it. And I take stuff to the post office, and I'm getting my exercise, and it's a wonderful thing to have. So here's one Extra Cycle cargo bike. This is a normal bike with an Extra Cycle free radical attachment. And this is what I was talking about. See, here's the actual tubing, right? And this one comes with what's called a hoopty and accessories. So a hoopty is like one of those things where you put the rear deck on, right? And then the hoopty are these bars. See these little bars right here? They go around the top around here like this so someone can hang on to it. So it has some accessories. This is just the free radical, guys. This is not even a bike, okay? This is just the free radical with the deck, with some hoopty things, and some other random accessories. $715 with 37 bids. Okay, so let's say you don't find that. You start finding something more like this. Look at this, right? Isn't that crazy? Look at, I mean, this guy could have taken this part off because no one cares about this part. But see, it's called donor frame. It's basically being donated. Like it doesn't have nothing to do with the deal. The fact that this bike is even here should not be here. He should take this off and just sell this part alone. You sell this part alone. My last one that I sold was like 5 something. I found it at a bicycle swap meet for like really nothing. I want to say it was like either 60 or $100. It was really nothing compared to what I sold it for. But here you go, just the free radical extension with the deck. Okay, look at this, $455, 36 bids, $40 in shipping for the 26-inch wheel. Now I don't know why I said 26-inch wheel because most of them are all 26-inch versions. I don't ever know of any other version that's not 26. But here we go, Extra Cycle free radical cargo bike extension, 26-inch version, 420. Hey, that's a great number. 27 bids. $30 in shipping with the bags. Like this one has the bags, this one doesn't have the bags, right? I mean, kind of crazy, right? So this one even has more than this one. Actually, this one does not have the deck on top, but the bags are definitely worth way more than the deck. But anyways, let's take a look. Here, this guy sold it in way too cheap. This is a Stump Jumpers 80. This is a terrible. If you're going to be selling an Extra Cycle or whatever, let's see what this guy said. I haven't even looked at this listing real quick, but let me take a look. Extra Cycle, what is he selling here, this dude? Let's take a look. I don't know why he put Extra Cycle. I think because people like to pair up really strong steel frames with the extracycle itself. But yeah, this I don't understand why this guy did that. Okay, so let's get out of that posting real quick, but let's go to something that's a little bit more relevant, which is right here. If you don't even have the top bars, which can accommodate the how do I say it? It doesn't even accommodate the bags. Just this part right here, $224.19. All right, so let's suppose that you maybe find the seat at a garage sale or something like that. The seat alone, $102.50 with $69 shipping. Here's the seat again that's been used. Child seat, flight deck. You might be thinking, who the hell is going to use this stuff? Well, it's the people that really don't want to live their lives relying on cars, or they're super close to a market or the kid's school, and the mom or dad wants to get some exercise in the morning, right? And it's a wonderful way to experience life when you don't have to rely on actual combustion or oil or any of that kind of stuff. You're just pedaling around. It's a way more free feeling kind of thing. And there's a way that extracycle has all these attachments so you can bring kids with you and they're still safe. They have attachments that are like kickstands that make the bike really, really stable when you put the kid in and out kind of thing. Let's take a look at the V-Racks and freeloader bags. So here are the bags on the side, just the bags on the side, $100 total. Here's the actual deck with a comfy seat, right? It was a specifically built seat for that deck. And then they have foot pegs. So like your child's sitting on here and maybe the child starts growing up and they become a little bit taller, but there are foot pegs too, right? So you just put your butt around here and then your knees and legs drape around the side of the wheel and they rest on these foot pegs. Look at this, pretty good resale. Here's that kickback, relax adapter kickstand with missing legs, but still someone sold it for $75. Here are the bags right here. Don't know why this person sold it for this cheap, because you can get way more for this. And then they have things called what's called wide loaders, like you can put on the actual chassis. So here's the chassis. See these two little pieces right here from here to there? You can put something around it like a little hoop and it ends up looking like this. And it allows you to essentially put bigger cargo on the bike, assuming you strap it on correctly. But you can put bigger cargo on the bike and it lowers the center of gravity for the cargo to be on. Think like 2x4s, bigger things that you might find at Lowe's or Home Depot. Big, long, crazy things that you can strap up to the side of the bike, but they need to be lower with the center of gravity so you can actually pedal and, not tip the bike over. So that's what these wide loaders are for. And the wide loaders are all over $50. If you're lucky enough to find the deck alone is two bids at $13.50. I guarantee you that this person, if they put it $49.99 with free shipping, that the deck would have sold for that much. So there's a little bolo for you guys, for eBay items that sell over $50. Definitely something to look out for. I have firsthand experience on this one. I even want to say that College Picker was with me when I hustled one like 3 or 4 years ago from that bike swap meet. I think he was there and he didn't believe it. He was like, wow, I didn't think that would have, crazy resale like that. But I showed him the market right then in the car after I'd bought it. He was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. And then I literally sold it for, I think, more than what I showed him on the actual eBay completeds, because I just knew how to list it. So you definitely want to know extracycle, free radical, and put whatever you think you have. It could be deck, it could be bags, but just make sure you put the right keywords. All right, in the feed we have, let me see what's going on in the feed. In the feed, we have Harlan Wood saying, hey, Bonafide, thanks for the information. As always, it's really good. You're welcome. All these shows now at this point, they're all brought to you by the Green Room University. So go check it out. Second link down below. You want to learn thrifting at its best, to be around people that are just awesome. It's a no riffraff type group that we run, we manage, and we like it a lot. So definitely get in there. We crossed 882 members today. And yeah, second link down below. Check it out. So Thrifty Treasure say, hey, Chris, you're so cut out for the Austin lifestyle. I'd love to live there. I'm a hippie at heart. I'm a sort of hippie at heart. I like riding bikes a whole bunch. I aim to ride my bike later on today. Yesterday, for about a solid hour, I was just skateboarding and longboarding in my street, pretending that the driveways were waves. And that's just what I like to do. Like, I like slip-on Vans. I like really simple shirts and basic stuff. And I really like trucker hats. Like, I like to keep my life simple. But going back to the free radical thing, that's a way to really, increase the utility of your bike at home. So if you have a bike at home and you're like, man, it sucks to go to even Starbucks because my backpack's so heavy, you can do a lot of things with a free radical. And I have one that I bought from someone in Austin, Texas 5 years ago for $270. Like, I have one. There's like a bazillion pictures in the green room about it, but there are also pictures, I think, on my Bonafide Hustler Facebook. but it's a silver vintage GT frame laced to a free radical with the bags, with the deck. I even have the foot pegs and everything. And it is so useful. That bike is incredibly useful. Yeah, so anyway, check it out. It is long, which kind of sucks because I can't really transport it very easily to like the center part of town, but I can at least do a lot of like cargo bike type stuff around here. And we have FedEx close, we have USPS, we have, UPS, and these are ways that I can involve fitness into my daily lifestyle, right? With things like that. So anyway, Thriller Gorilla Picker has a comment. Hey, Bonafide, you should give some viewers some tips on some vintage BMX. I think a lot of people pass off this stuff. Okay, so you know what? I'll probably do a show about that because vintage BMX has an incredible amount of resale associated to it. But you gotta know how to like read this stuff, how to read, stamps. You have to read how the, what kind of tubing are you looking at? What piece are you even looking at? Because sometimes when you go to garage sales, you might not be lucky enough to find a frame or an intact bike. You might just be able to find pedals and cranks and forks and things like that. And to be able to decode it is really what separates the hustler from the person that's like, and just passes it by, right? So anyway, I appreciate the support, guys. And like I said, if you love this broadcast, hit the like button, put a comment in. But let's get to the next item, okay? So next item, actually, let me populate this next item. I think let's talk about it here real quick. Oh, this one's awesome. I've hustled this twice over. Here we go. This one's crazy. Like no one would ever think this would sell for this much, right? But a majority of these are going to sell for around 100 or more. So just and a majority of them are used. So we're going to be looking at 12 of these items, and let's screen share right now so you guys can see what is up. Hold on, get my screen share going. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's the next one right here, which is crazy. I've hustled this twice over. Once, I think I found it at a garage sale, and the other time I definitely found it from a Goodwill. And when I found it at Goodwill, I want to say I paid like $3 or $4 for this thing, but I immediately sold it for over 100. So let's talk about what it is and can you find it? So what it is a Batman Tumbler, which is considered the Batmobile from the more current type Batman movies, being, I want to say, Dark Knight, maybe Dark Knight Rises, and maybe, I don't think Batman Begins, no, hold on, Batman Begins I think had it, the one with the Joker had it, but the one after that had a different type one, I want to say. So one with separating type front wheels, and was really weird looking. So, but the Tumbler is iconic. Even if you were to find like the Tumbler and Lego version, like you're going to do super well. But let's talk about the Tumbler in 1/6 scale Tyco version, issued out in 2005. So yeah, Batman Tumbler, here are the key words to get it. Batman Batmobile Tumbler Tyco 1/6 scale. This G3448 is slightly important because I believe there were some smaller ones created that were more 1/10 scale, and the real money is in the big ones, okay? So if you don't put 1/6, then you might end up down here trying to sell this thing, and you might get $60 for it. This person just put big, but you gotta put jumbo. Here's the thing, guys. You gotta know that Batman Tumbler Tyco 1/6 scale, enough. That's enough for people to go, oh, that's pretty big, all right? Now, this one right here is probably the way that a lot of people would have done it. This is a $100 one right here. If you have the remote control and the battery like this one does, look at this one, $190 with free shipping. Pretty nuts. There's nothing special about this vehicle. When you pick it up, it's relatively light, but it has an intense amount of detail to it. So if you are a complete avid Batman Tumbler like lover or Batman lover of everything, then you're going to want to have certain things like this up on your wall. And it doesn't, and it's one of the ways to crack into a really big conversation type Tumbler piece, as opposed to getting into like the Lego version or the one that's even more hard to find. But I'll show you that one here in a second. But let's just say that you find the one, and you have relatively decent keywords, 1/6 scale Tumbler Tyco, and you have that G3448, and you don't find the remote control or anything. I mean, they're hard to break. Like these things go up and down, these little fins in the back. So I think these are up in this picture, they're up in that picture. Outside of that, I want to say underneath there's like a really dumb looking like circular, I don't know, it's just a piece of crap. Like it's a total piece of crap car, but it's just the scale and how big it is. And the detail is why people like this thing so much. So be on the lookout for this thing. 1/6 scale. If you're like, what the hell does 1/6 scale even look like? Think of like an average like printer, right? An average style inkjet printer. It's about that big. They're big. This is a big car. So anyway, just remember when you get one, you don't have to have the remote. If you have the remote control, that's great, but likely you're never going to find the remote control. Just take it, list it for $100 buy it now with free shipping. You'll be at the top of the listings, and you'll be able to hopefully sell it for that much. I think you'll be okay with good pictures. So if you take a look at just like the Batmobile Tumbler itself, take a look at used condition. There's a lot of maker of the Batman Tumbler. There's like DC Comics, Fisher Price, Hasbro, Hot Wheels, Jada Toys, Mattel. So let's take a look at the used thing, and you'll see these actual super replicas. Like here's a 1/6 scale by Hot Toys. I mean, with lights and everything. Oh, that's a bad number. Let's not look at that one. But here's one right here. Hot Toys made one that's like a super replica, which is so close to that Tyco one. Like, look, you can spend $700 and sink your money into this, or you can spend $150 or $100 and sink it into the Tyco, and they look almost identical. This one's going to have some working lights. But who really cares though? Like, anyway, so here's the camo one right there. If you are lucky enough to find the Lego tumbler, built or unbuilt, you're going to be doing really well. So here's the Lego tumbler right here. It's a relatively big one as well. And of course, we have the Tyco one that we saw earlier. Even some really small ones like the Hot Wheels Batmobile camouflage one, but you're probably never going to find that. But you might be able to find this one right here, maybe. I don't know. So just remember, when you see a tumbler like this at a garage sale and it's made by a Hot Toys and they're like, oh, I want $150 for that thing, it might be time to pull the trigger, considering that the Hot Toys ones that are out of the box that are used are probably, you know, selling for $700 with 25 shipping. So just think about it. You know, there are a lot of times when you go to a garage sale, like this person's asking too much money, but you have to look in relation to what you can sell it for, because 150 is nothing compared to, you know, if you can sell it for this price. So pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed that, Bolo. I thought it was a pretty good one. I've flipped two of the Tyco ones before. Like I said, one I found at a garage sale, one I found at a Goodwill. One of the Goodwill was super dirt cheap. The one at the garage sale, I can't even remember what I paid for it. So anyway, yeah, the Chris Nolan Batman series is phenomenal. There are three of them. There's like Batman Begins, Batman The Dark Knight, and then there's something Rises, I want to say, something like that. The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight, and then Batman Begins. I'm all on Blu-ray back here. And my favorite one out of all of them is the one with Bane. Like, I love it. Like, it's such a good movie. The plot was perfect. Like, everything's really good. Yeah, so I like that one. I like the Joker one too. Like, that was the second one. So a lot of people talking about BMX stuff here in the feed, by the way. 80 viewers in the house. 20 people like the video. Guys, there's like 60 of you guys that aren't. Come on. Like, gather up the calories, move the little finger over, and hit the like button. Or the dislike button, whatever you may think. But if you're hitting the dislike button, you know, they're almost 30 minutes into the show. I don't even know why you're here. So, like, hit the like button. Okay, so let's talk about the next one really quick. I think I have found one of these. But I want to say that the one that I found, I think it's sold on Amazon FBA. I don't believe it's sold on eBay. So, and it sold for really good money. So, and well over, I want to say, what did I sell for? $189.99, something like that. This next one's pretty cool. Maybe you know about it, maybe you don't. So let's check it out right here. So let me present this to everyone and go into Sony Explode. You might like, oh, isn't that the cheap red looking stupid Sony stuff? But you got to go to the boombox. This is where the secret is right here. All right, so let's go into used, because you ain't gonna find this thing new. Ain't nobody's finding this thing new. Like, no, it's not gonna happen. But the used one, if you have it used, maybe you find the box, that's great. Maybe you probably won't, but if you can get the remote control and everything like that, check out these prices that are sold prices. $200 right here with the shipping included, everything. Explode boombox with a remote control. You know, it has a nice like light up kind of like red thing right here. But it's a CF, basically you want to be looking for this one. This is the main model to look for, the CFD G700 CP. You know, without remote control. Here's with a remote, you know, average price about $150 to $200. Without remote, let's see if we can find one without the remote here. Tested. You know, the good thing about Sony stuff is they almost always work just right. So there's a tape thing in here. There's a CD thing in here as well on the other side. So here's the CD part. Here's the tape part. I want to say that the buttons are almost rubberized. I'm not 100% sure on this because I've sold a couple of Explode things, but this is the one that I really looked out for. They have a work series of Explode too, which is like way more durable and like almost like a, how do I say it? Like a Milwaukee or a Makita type, like work. for people that bring the boombox to them with work and they're doing like the siding of a house or roofing, or the boombox has to be tough. So they make tougher versions of this stuff. It's a red type. I can't remember if it's Explode or not, but that one's a good one to look out for too. But today on this one, we're going to show you the Explode GFD series. So there's a 700 CXP, there's a 505, but essentially you're looking for the ones with a big, red eye on the front that lights up. And some look a little bit different than others, but essentially you have 2 speakers. If you're lucky enough, you get the ones with the tweeters. And then, yeah, try to find the remote control. But if you can't, it's not a huge deal. Like, I'll show you one without the remote control right here. Where's without remote? Definitely want to be putting that in the ad because that's kind of important. I mean, a lot of these probably don't have the remote because I don't even see them in half of the pictures. If you have the remote, you would be smart like this guy and you would put it right in the picture with a generic cord. If it's missing the cord, you can get a generic cord. It's not a huge deal. But the remote is, it's kind of semi-important. If this thing's far away from you and you're doing some work and you want to just turn up the music, then you probably want the remote, right? So here's a remote right here. But I know that there's some without the remote that are around here. I saw them earlier today. So here's a remote, still over $50, guys. That's what this show's all about. eBay items that sell over $50 that you should be looking for. There we go. This one even has an issue. Look at this with shipping, selling for that much. So definitely a good thing to look out for if it's tested and it's awesome in perfect condition. If you're at a garage sale and someone's like, yeah, I'd like to get like 20 or 25, maybe 30 for that. I mean, when you see prices like this, think about it, all right? Yeah, the shipping is going to be kind of annoying, probably around 20 or 30 bucks. And you'll probably go FedEx. But still, with a decent amount of what they call dunnage or padding, you can get this thing moving across the states and putting money into your bank account. So what do you guys think of that one? Did you know about that Bolo? I'm going to ask you a couple questions right now, honestly, because when I make these shows or when I make the content for these shows before the show, I always wonder, I always want to kind of be different than some of the other resale channels, not in a negative way. I just want to do something different and show you guys maybe some different Bolos. So did you guys know about Mondo glasses, the Gremlin stuff, the posters? Did you guys know about the extra cycle attachment thing or the Tycho Batman tumbler or even these Sony Explode boomboxes? Let me know. I'm just very curious. If you knew about it, then we have a very, very advanced type hustler base out there, and I need to really step up my Bolo game. But I'm trying to give you guys Bolos that not many people, I don't see many YouTube channels ever talking about these things. So I want to make sure that you guys at least know because we're in we're in an amazing garage sale season right now. And these are the types of boomboxes, especially some of the things that you're going to be finding at garage sales. You got to be able to know quickly, do I pop on that or do I not pop on that? And if you had seen it in a show like this, it's going to be really easy to go, holy crap, I think that's the thing that Bonafide was talking about. I should buy it. And especially if it's like $5 or something, who cares if the tape player doesn't work or something like that? Just buy it, right? Mixture Gaelic Command say, hey, Craigslist Hunter had the Explode a while ago. Cool. Very good. Ivana Flores says, no, I didn't hear about that. Thrifty Treasures. No. What's up, Tanya? And David Carcraft says, I've heard of the Sony items before. Brian Boklin says, I've sold over 200 boomboxes. That's amazing. That's really good. I'm probably, with my hustle career, I'm probably around, I would say comfortably 50 to 80, because a lot of them that I find are vintage ones, right? And the tape player usually does not work on a vintage one. Now, I know you can go ahead and fix it and open it up and all that kind of stuff, but that's not the business that I'm into. I'm in the business of a quick flip, and I want to get it out of here, and I want to drop it off somewhere. So a lot of them go to the booth, and they get flipped over there. And I go with boomboxes, I'll go up as far as black Sony ones with detachable speakers with the 20 presets on the side on each side. You know what I'm talking about? I think this was mid-90s type stuff. They're not like the Run DMC kind that everyone thinks of boomboxes, but they still have great resale, especially in a booth. In a booth, I can get somewhere between 30 and 60 for a Sony black boombox with remote that is still from mid-90s. So that's great because I can find them at Goodwills or garage sales for $5 to $10. Throw it in the booth, making about 30 to 60. That's good to me. Anyway, so let's talk about the next item right here, and I think you might know. Maybe you guys know about this one. Maybe you don't. Do you guys know about this thing called a kitchen sink? So let's talk about the kitchen sink because it's important to know about this thing. All right, because when you're dealing with kitchen sink, you're dealing with an interesting looking backpack. But more importantly, let's talk about why this brand, not all of them, okay, but Oakley, I think it's called Tactical, yeah. Backpack. Let's talk about the backpack first, the tactical backpack. Let's go into a very fair, like used category, right? And let's go into sold and sort by highest. Okay, so these are really, really easy to spot, okay? Because they're ridiculously over-engineered backpacks that are pretty damn good. So the original, so the Oakley makes tactical gear, which they make it in duffel bags. They make it in laptop bags, and they make it in like little tiny pouch accessories and stuff like that. But they also make a backpack called the kitchen sink, all right? Which is, yeah, it's tactical as well because it has a lot of this brushed aluminum type fittings on it, but it has this really interesting part up here, which I believe that's where you put certain sunglasses. I don't think it's for a helmet, but I think it's for certain sunglasses to protect your Oakleys, but it's called the kitchen sink. So let's talk about the tactical ones first, because the tactical ones and the kitchen sink are almost like two different things, but a kitchen sink is the name of the backpack and it has tactical stuff. But if you find an Oakley tactical backpack and it's not the kitchen sink and you label it as kitchen sink, you're going to have a return. So the ones that are kitchen sinks are the ones that have the aluminum fittings on them. You can kind of see these aluminum fittings everywhere, and it's like it could be like as simple as little rings like that, like rectangular type hoops like this, down to clasps like that. Let's get into a different picture here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the camo kitchen sink. You can get kitchen sink in like black and all this stuff, but when you mouse over, you can see that those are really, really nice. It's almost like aircraft aluminum. They're not called D-rings, but we'll just call these rectangular hoops. We have awesome clasps, right? Like that clasp goes to that ring up there. That one goes to that. It's an over-engineered backpack that is just basically ridiculous, right? They have all these different fittings on them and stuff. If I showed you some of the other stuff, you would just flip out. In fact, we will look at that here in this broadcast. But essentially, the kitchen sink backpacks that are tactical are going to be probably $100 to $200 pretty quickly. If you get a tactical backpack, which is really pre-kitchen sink, I know they still make them, but a lot of the tactical stuff was made back in the day, like 10 years ago. So vintage Oakley original tactical field gear backpack, 2 bids at $149.99. This guy probably should have done $199, buy it now, and it probably would have sold. But here's the kitchen sink again, right there. You can see that place right there for your glasses to be in. It's durable, barely used, 115 with 7 bids. Really cool looking backpack. But if we look at the Oakley tactical anything, let's look at just Oakley tactical, and you're going to kind of see that they have field gear vests. I've actually found this one before at Goodwill for like $6, and I flipped it 6 years ago for like 150. And now if I just kept it, like, it could have been a little bit more. I have passed on bags like this that people actually used extensively, like to where they were fraying and everything, and it really pissed me off. But I was like, damn, like that would have been a really good flip, but I can't get into some frayed, effed up kind of stuff. Like I just don't want to get into it. But here we go. We have the Dexter laptop bag right there. This is a little bit more common, so pay attention when you go to like garage sales and Goodwills and Savers. If you see this like over-engineered type laptop bag and it has Oakley, the thing is that there's no big O label like you see on the kitchen sink or anything like that. It has this Oakley tactical badge that's on the bag itself, but there are no big O's or anything like that, kind of like this bag right here. There's none of that. So you have to look carefully, and you kind of have to know, like, holy crap, like I have to look for that little tag, almost like a Toomey, but you can see that the Oakley tag is right there. In fact, there's a little bit better. Oakley tactical field gear, blah, blah, blah. You can take that stock number, put it in. But it's pretty easy to figure out a computer bag, laptop bag versus backpack versus duffel bag and all that. But I love these. Like, it's been a while since I found one. Like, it really has. But they're interesting. Now, I don't know why this person put this, but this is not, that's not accurate. Anyway, so here we go. Here's more of that. They make duffel ones. I'm surprised no one has a duffel one. That must be really, really rare, the tactical one. But essentially, yes, this laptop bag is one of the lead ones you want to look for. All right, and then we can get to the actual kitchen one, and you'll see the variants of colors. Because when you deal with Oakley tactical, that's not kitchen sink, there's usually like one color. It's usually the black that you see right there. But let's take a look. Oakley kitchen sink right here. Let's make sure that we go to used so we're not getting any weird stuff. Red one right here, right? $189.99. Standard black color right there. Look at these bids. Look at this market. Camo ones, gray ones. You know, that's what you're looking at right there. There's your kitchen sink, all above 50 bucks. And I'm scrolling like a madman, and we still haven't even got to the end of that market yet. So you can kind of see like even the cheapest kitchen sink, or here's some parts for a kitchen sink selling for some money, but even the cheapest one, 61 bucks. So that's a pretty decent bolo. In my opinion, I am on the lookout for the kitchen sink. Tough one to find, but I have found a couple of the tactical gear stuff myself. Oh man, I actually considered keeping one of the tactical gear things, and I was like, so cool, blah, blah. But this is when I was a hustler, and I learned the game of hustling early and some of the important principles with the game of hustling. And one of those important principles that I abide by all the time is that if you can sell it for a certain amount of money now, and this goes for anything that you find this weekend, anything that you hold in your inventory now, or anything that you might not have listed because you just like it a lot, you know, think about it, what it can sell for now, and be reasonable and be like, oh, it can sell for 300 when it can't. But think about what it can sell for now, and then ask yourself, am I willing to buy that right now for this amount of money? That's what you got to ask yourself. That's the reality of being a hustler, because markets change, right? They evolve. Sometimes they get better, sometimes they get worse. But if you're holding on to something, you've essentially bought that thing and are risking harm to that item while you own it, right? You go to Starbucks with your kitchen sink backpack and all that kind of stuff. It's getting wear and tear slowly, right? If you have a bicycle that's worth X amount of money now, might not be worth, much later. Then if you decide to, if you crash it or wreck it, it might be worth half now, So you got to ask yourself those kind of questions. It's really, really important to look at hustling in that sense. It goes down to like shoe level. For me, it's like a shoe thing. Like, oh, I like that shoe. It's size 12. It's my size. It's a really rare Vans or whatever. And then I'm like, wait, would I at this point spend X to get that right now? And the answer is almost always no, because I would much rather pour that money into my business, right? And then when I make good money, like super good money, to where I can just buy crazy things like that, $100 pairs of shoes, like no problem, then I'll do it, right? But right now, it's not the time. Like, it's the time to invest in myself and to get my dreams taken care of. So just a tip for you guys out there is always try to look at hustling objectively. Like, what are you in the game for, right? Are you in the game to keep items and hoard things? Are you in the game to make money, right? And to learn more about business and to do better. All right, let's go to the next one real quick. I have found, video games are a good one. So Good Use Good says, I wonder this about video games, when the price finally start to decline. I don't know if they will with cartridges, and maybe with discs, maybe, right? But with cartridges, it's tough because everything's going DLC these days, downloadable content, which there's like no physical thing anymore, right? You just buy a game, and eventually we're going to get to the point where games aren't really even going to be on the, it'll just be a picture of a game, and it just says like, here's your code, you upload, with your router and your system, your PS4, whatever, and then it downloads the game to you, and there you go. Like, you have that physical game, but you can't trade it with anybody or anything like that. So cartridges, in my opinion, are always going to be at least at par or better, because cartridges are not easy to find anymore, and they're still getting used and they're still getting broken. But there's not an infinite supply of this stuff, right? So as the supply gets broken and destroyed, and it gets completely yellowed and all that stuff, and the labels are peeling off, that means the stuff that's really good condition that maybe you're holding on to is only going to be appreciating through time. So think about that. See, the thing about Atari took a dive on price, but the vintage PC games have doubled in price. I think when it came down to video game history, like Atari did big things, but I don't think it was as big, in my opinion, as Nintendo did in the 80s. I mean, Nintendo really revolutionized like the whole gaming thing. So, and they developed characters that are just mind-blowing, like the Mario thing and the Zelda guy and Yoshi, and they developed these characters that have just transcended through the decades, and they're just still relevant to this day. So it's an amazing thing. If you think about it from a marketing perspective, it's risky, kind of like it was risky to build Star Wars at first, right? With all these wacky things that you never thought, like, who's Chewbacca, like a furry monster guy, complete wacky movie. For the time that it was released, it was just a complete risk if you think about it, but it paid off huge because he was iconic. And the same thing with Nintendo, like these things, like a plumber, right? An Italian plumber dude with a plumber little friend, Luigi guy, and like that's far-fetched if you think about it on developmental standpoint, but it's risky too, because if you put a lot of money into marketing that kind of stuff, you better be behind it all the way. So it turned out to be one of the most noticeable characters of all time was Mario. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about now the next item. And let's share you guys another 50 plus bolo kind of thing. Present to everyone. Okay, so the next one that we're going to talk about on this is something that I've found 3 times over, and each time it's been new. So don't mess with this when it's used at all. I have found 2 from Goodwills, 1 from garage sale. The one from garage sale clearly was way more cheaper than the ones from the Goodwills. But when I was flipping this stuff, it was like flipping for like $80 to like $99. I have never sold one over $100, but I've never sold one less than 80 as well in new. You're going to be blown away when you see this thing because it's really stupid. It's the technology is not that great, but it's Logitech, which we know new Logitech, you probably won't be able to sell it on Amazon, or you have to be ungated. But Logitech Pro 9000, a webcam that shoots 2 megapixels, guys, 2 megapixels. But it's a Pro 9000 quick cam webcam, Carl Zeiss with autofocus, blah, blah, blah. Look, compared to like a C930 or a C950 or any of those, like this is pretty much obsolete stuff. But HD 720 with 2 megapixels, 2. Like this is nothing to brag about. Still has incredible resales. So let's look at the new market, because on used, I don't want you guys to pick it up used. It's just not, I don't think it's the greatest idea. But with new, you're probably still going to find it out there for someone that was like, yeah, I need a webcam, and then never used it, you know? So you might find it at a garage sale. Like I said, I found it at a garage sale once, and I found it at a thrift store twice. So Pro 9000 with autofocus, HD 720, whoop-de-doo, $59.95. When I was selling them like 2 years ago, whatever, the price was like $99.99 for this dumb thing. It was still completely like, it was outpaced at that time. And now it's still completely outpaced, and it's like still holding its value. So definitely a 50 plus bolo that you should be on the lookout for. Really easy box to look for, like a green box. You know, it's a small little rectangle, does not cost much to ship, and this thing should not, okay, so when you buy this thing, it should have the little tabs on it that you can tell if it's been opened or not. So make sure those circular tabs are there, that it's not open. But yeah, look at all these here. I mean, I'm 4 scrolls down the page and we're still at $50 almost exactly with 10 bids. Like, don't put this stuff on with auctions. Like, just throw it on a buy it now at like $59 and be done with it. All right, set it and forget it, like that rotisserie thing. But you see what I'm talking about, right? This person probably could have put $69.99 and just been done with it, with free shipping, and it would have been ranked higher. And likely, you want to definitely do sell similar. You want to get on the main listing, because the main listing has 340 product ratings, 5-star. So it makes it look all good. And if you're lucky enough, you might be able to be featured on the right panel on eBay. If you have a certain amount of, like, what is it, TRS, or there are a couple ways to get onto the right panel on an eBay listing. But essentially, yeah, you want to hoop onto the main listing right here. And the way you can kind of do that, if I'm not mistaken, it's with the UPC, and you can do sell similar, put the UPC in, and then there's another thing you have to put into. But then you'll link up with this main one right here. And then the product ratings will go onto yours as well, right? Because you want to be on that one. In fact, all these people were on it, so that's good. So that's a obsolete webcam that sells for over $50 in new condition. Mind-blowing. It does, why, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. That's not what this show's about, like why it matters. Well, it is about that a little bit, but it's more about a bolo, so you can go out there and look for it. See, Paul Tidwell says, is this because the glass is Zeiss? And I would say no, because the one I'm shooting in right now is a 1080p HD with Zeiss, and you can get this thing on Amazon for $65, like shipped to your door, or 67 or something like that. You know, so I don't think it's that. It must be something else. But yeah, it's a webcam that's still out there. And it's just one of those things. So Mark Metheny says, I've learned a lot from you, and thank you. I get a lot of these comments. I get a lot of people that find these things that I talk about in some of these videos, and they just shoot the picture for me, and then they put it on Bonafide Hustler Facebook, and they show me like, oh my God, watched your video, found it. Here it is. Like, and I love seeing those kind of pictures. I love getting notifications, even in the green room, like, hey man, I saw that on your video. That's super awesome. So one of those things, like if you're out there, you're thrifting, going to Savers, Goodwills, Habitat for Humanities, like all these places, St. Vincent, thrift stores, and you're going to garage sales and yard sales, you're bound to come across some of this stuff. But it's about, were you aware or not? Because you don't have an infinite amount of time at these garage sales or these thrift stores. So you got to be, firing off on all cylinders to be able to find the best deals, to put the most money on your table, to go on the biggest, baddest vacations, whatever. It all takes some money, right? And the more you know, the more money you can make. So let's go to the next item real quick. This one's interesting. I have found variants of this item, but I have found one of the ones that we're going to be talking about, I think twice over. So let's talk about that real quick. Now, this one you probably know about, or the general thing you kind of know about. But what's interesting is to know, oh crap. The reason why I say mini synth, we can just call it synthesizer. I hope I spelled that right. I think I did. All right, so the mini ones are what I want you to look for, because big ones are just crazy and the shipping is going to be a total bitch. You know what I'm talking about. So, and sorry I cussed, but like the mini ones are like way, way more reasonable to ship, and they're fun. They're easy to test. You don't have to really plug them in ever. They have sometimes battery slots in the back. So here we go. One of the ones you got to look for is the SK1 32 key mini classic sampling keyboard synth. A lot of people are like, why are people buying this thing? It's because some people love the sound that comes from these things, and they bring it into their professional music career. Whether you're listening to alt music or anything like that, synthesizers are cool to bring back that like retro feel to it. So vintage, definitely a keyword you want to have. You want to have mini in there. You want to have synthesizer, and you have to have a Casio SK1. It's really good to put terms like working and excellent or tested or any of that kind of stuff. Now, I believe the SK1, if I'm not mistaken, does not take batteries. It does power supply, but one of these other ones down here, like this one for sure takes batteries. I know this. So I have found this a couple times over. It's called the VL1. So yeah, there's one right there, VL1 for $90. There are a couple more VL1s in it, but most of the ones I want to show you here are SK1s, okay? And there are a lot of them. Like, people are finding these things, keyboard working, excellent, blah, 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 works great. So yeah. It's also important that if the synthesizer, you can also do it's like, how do I say it? I don't know exactly what the sampling thing means. I don't know. I don't want to pretend like I know, but I know that this is an important keyword. I know sampling is a very important keyword in this listing as well. But if you're lucky enough to find it at a Goodwill or a thrift store or a garage sale, try to get the power supply with it. If you find the other one, which is the weird white looking thing, here's another one, like that's a random, like this is a MIDI with MIDI outputs. It's a GZ5 and it has a MIDI outputs in the back. A lot easier for you to take the sound out and to mess with it. But here's an SK1, at the bottom of the listing, $60. Here's the VL1 right here, 16 bids, a little bit more hard to find. But yeah, synthesizer, mini keyboard. Don't see any sampling on that one. So, here's a VL tone. Now that I think about it, I want to say that when I found mine, I actually did find the box with it too. So anyway, something to look forward to, these mini synthesizers, all right? Because they are not that big. The mini synthesizers are about half the size of a typical desk, maybe even less than that. Like, they're small, so they're easier to ship and everything like that. If you deal with a full-blown synth, then the shipping is pretty much going to kill you. You're going to get rates that are like similar to like shipping a snowboard or something really absurdly long. So anyway, definitely something to look forward to hustling out there. They're pretty easy to test as well. Plug them in, or on that VL1, you put the batteries in and you start farting around with it, right? You just start pressing things and make sure that you can make loops, and because a lot of them have predetermined sounds that they can make, or beats, and then you can kind of like go over the beat and play whatever you want. But I have never come across one that did not work properly. I've come across a couple that were missing keys, and then I didn't buy them. But and I've come across some that had extensive amount of corrosion in the battery compartment, so I didn't buy those. But missing keys or dead keys, so you want to test the 32 or 36 keys, whatever it is. You want to test and make sure that there are no dead keys. And one of the more common things that you will find are some of the knobs are missing the toggle switches. Like the knob or the toggle switches are missing the little toggle piece. So it looks like a little metal thing that a little piece is supposed to go on top, and it helps you to be able to grab it and stuff. So that's common too. But that'll still shake you out around that $50 mark. So if you have a really good one that doesn't have any dead keys, or it's not missing any toggle, pieces, end pieces, should do pretty well. Brian Boken says, I've sold all these items over the last 13 years time. Yeah, they don't come around super often, especially in SK1, but like it's one of those things to look out for, and once every 2 or 3 years you'll probably come across one. All right. Oh yeah, the keytar. I was going to talk about the keytar. So Paul Tidwell says, if you can find a keytar, you're doing really well. Yeah, a keytar is like a keyboard guitar made by Casio. They made it in a couple colors. Really hard to find. Like I've never found one yet. College Pickers found one. A couple of the people in the green room have found them too, but like they're hard to find, but they're really, really neat. So if you ever find a guitar, and it's small, like a keytar is not a huge thing. If you ever find like this medium-sized looking keyboard thing that looks like it has a guitar also, that's probably worth an easy 150. Like we can look that up right. Let me look that up right now. I know Casio makes it. It's a keytar. Look at it real quick. Oh yeah. Okay, so the red one that needs repair is going for, I'll share it with you guys right now. We'll just look at some keytar stuff. I gotta get out of here pretty soon, but hey, you know what? Let's learn a little bit. So yeah, the keytar right here, highest first used, hard to find. I mean, it's super hard. Yeah, so this one's as is. And this is probably the same one. Someone messed up the payment because it's sold on 2 different days. But yeah, hard to find. This is a Yamaha. This is the reason why this one didn't sell well. It's not even a Casio. So there we go, a Yamaha keytar. We'll look at the keytar here in a second, the Yamaha one. But here's a misdone one. Needs repair, already that much money. But if we go into the Yamaha one, it is Yamaha. When I was thinking about keytars, I think it is the Yamaha one. Sorry. Yeah, we'll go into solds, used, because you'd be lucky to find one new. And this is really what you want to be looking for. This one. See how I said it comes in different colors and everything? So here's a black one or gray one. There's the red one. Really interesting. I think a lot of people in the thrifting groups know about this though. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's an easy 150. Look at that. I'm still scrolling and we're not even at the 150 mark yet. So look around for that one as well. I've never found it. I know College Picker has. So anyway, that's a pretty interesting bolo. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to whoever, Paul Tidwell. Thank you. And he said Roland is good as well. So, and no. Henry S says, first act keytar? No, anything first act, you don't want to be messing around with it too much. Last thing, let's talk about what's called SE landing gear. SE landing gear. All right. Oh, like I said, 91 viewers in the house. Hey guys, if you like the video, do me a favor before this thing goes off air in like 5 minutes, hit the like button. It's so important for analytics, okay? All right, so let me go to used. And this is, I flipped one of these not too long ago, about 4 months ago for, let's say $95.99 or something like that. It was a 29er version of it. And you'll know what I'm talking about here in a second. So let me go to highest and let's go share the video. Okay, so no, we're not looking for transmissions, but what we are looking for is this thing called SE landing gear. All right, so SE has been making bikes since the 80s. They're known for making PK rippers, which are, loop tail type bikes, or sometimes just normal square tails, but they're known for a loop tail type of tubing on their bikes. That's not important. What's important is that the front part of their bikes in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and even now, they have still stamped them this exact same way, called landing gear. So let's look at one from 95 and you'll see what the landing gear looks like, because we're looking at one piece of this bike. We're not saying find the bike. No, we're looking. I want you to start looking out for this one piece, which is the fork, right? The fork says landing gear on the side. See that right there? So we have handlebars, it goes through the head tube down to a fork. And then the fork says landing gear. So that part right there is what we're looking at today. So let's look back now at what landing gears, and these are easy to spot, okay? Not a hard thing to look for or spot. Okay, so here we go. A BMX landing gear, rare solid drop, PK Ripper, right? That's the PK Ripper right there. Something must be really special about this one. 20-inch fork, $633. All right, let's look into something a little bit more reasonable. Unstamped SE Racing landing gear. Now, the reason why you're like, how the hell does he know it's landing gear? It's not stamped because the bottom should say SE. And this one's a little bit more rare because it is threaded on the top. So threaded versus threadless means it's a lot. It's an older type bike, all right? Like now everything's threadless. On the bottom of these, it should be stamped SE like around there. You can barely see it, but it's on that little oval piece way down there. SE landing gears are pretty easy to see because they have this part that grabs onto the wheel and it has three little things right there like holes. And then it should say SE around here. I'm surprised this one does not embossed, but then it is threaded, which is very important because the majority of them are not going to be. They're going to be threadless now. And this is for a 24-inch wheel bicycle as well, which makes it even harder to find. So it's no surprise why it goes for the amount of money that it's sold for. So it has a couple rare things involved with this one right here. This one has a best offer. They probably did $550 or so. Three rare things about this. It's unstamped, all right? Oh, okay, so there you go. That's what unstamped means. It doesn't have the SE on the bottom. How do you know it's a landing gear? Because those three little holes plus that thing, they're very beefy. It's for 24-inch wheel. That's one of those things that you probably, if you don't know what you're doing, just bring it into a bike shop and go, hey, is this for a 20, a 24, or 26? Then you want to know it's threaded, which means it has threads up there, and it's also a 1-inch, which is like way back in the day. Not way back in the day, but at least 90s. A 1-inch fork is a lot harder to find. I think everything now is about 1 3/8 or 1 1/8. 1 1/8, I think. So here we go. Early 1980s, unstamped. This one has the actual sticker on the side right there, so you know this is definitely a landing gear right there. Unstamped, and it's also threaded right there. If we look at the other ones, let's look at some more that are a little bit more today. Here's one that's today. I sold one identical to this one. All right, mine sold for $95.99. 2016 SE Racing 29-inch wheel for a really big wheel for special edition bikes that they made back in 2014, 2015, 2016 with really big wheels, 29-inch wheels. Just the fork with landing gear on the side in black, $130. Here we go, another one. Here's one right here that fits a 20-inch frame, threadless, right? If you look at the top, there are no threads, 1 1/8, the newer type of diameter that I was talking about. So yeah, about $100. Here's another one. And we have other ones that are painted weird and everything like that. And then when they're stamped, they look like this. I'll show you. So there's a 24. 1 1/8. So here's a 24, a little bit more rare one to find, 1 1/8 current day. And then these are no sticker and they are stamped on the bottom, which means they say SC right there. So that's what stamped is right there. But like I said, definitely a good market to be looking out for because this one sold for $56.99. And you know, we're still way above the 50 plus that we're talking about on items that you should be looking out for on eBay. When we get down to like some of the bottom stuff, still $36, 44, 46. But I want you guys to get out there, look for this kind of stuff. If it looks like a really tiny landing gear, it probably is for a 20 or 24-inch bike. If it starts getting larger, it'll probably be for a 26, or maybe if you're lucky enough, you find the 29 one, which is the one that's way big. See how much longer this is, so the wheel can pass through. But the landing gear, right? The sticker, that's the main one to look for. Is try to find it with this. Try to find the sticker, and that'll kind of tell you, like, look further. Then you'll know threadless versus threaded. If you're dealing with threaded, you're probably dealing with a 1-inch and then a 1-inch diameter. And then it's just a matter of decoding, going into a bike shop, just saying, hey, what kind of bike wheel fits in this? And they're going to tell you 20, 24, 26, or 29. And that's an important thing to put into the listing. All right, so that pretty much does it to show. I am 3 minutes over time. I love doing these kind of shows because not only does it show you guys like what I might have hustled back in the day for good money, but it also reminds me to share with you guys some of the things that I am currently looking for when I go to thrift stores or I go to garage sales and yard sales, right? No reason to hoard the information out there, so I may as well just dispel it here. I dispel it inside the green room as well, so go check that out. Second link down below. And as a final reminder, if you want to learn about stuff to look for that you can put on your phone, a PDF thing that you need to study, and study in a good way. I don't mean study like in tests in college and not that kind of stuff. Like study in a fun way. Put this on your phones. The first link down below. The second link is going to show you guys to the Green Room University. If you decide to click that link, you'll see essentially what thrifting can do for you and what it's done for us. And the group is now 882 members strong. Consider joining that as well. Until the next time, have a great Friday. First of all, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button. Do me a favor, hit the like button. And I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy and goodbye.